Yo, what is going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the brand new skill champion coming to the game, Shang-Chi. So I'm very excited for this because, the skill class is still the worst class in the game, in my opinion. And Shang-Chi is arguably the best fighter in Marvel, like even in the comics and everything like that. In every list that you look up, like he's in like that top 3, usually like him, Iron Fist are up there. So like this dude should be like one of the best skill champions in the game because he's so strong. He's so good at martial arts. So I was really excited when he was getting introduced into the game, and especially because his movie is coming soon. His movie was supposed to come out actually this month, so I think this was supposed to be kind of like, he was coming out with his movie debut, but the movie got pushed back because of COVID, of course. But we're still getting him. Hopefully the movie comes out soon because it looks super good, man. But yeah, so let's jump into it. So Shang-Chi, from a young age, Shang-Chi went through rigorous martial arts training with his father, Zhang Zhu, I hope I'm saying that right. After discovering he was being shaped into a lethal assassin, he instead took to superhero work as the master of Kung Fu. Shang-Chi has complete control over his inner energy, Qi. With a vast knowledge of Wushu fighting styles, Shang-Chi can wield a variety of weapons, but he excels in bare-handed combat. So, mechanics. Shang-Chi uses his medium and light attacks to perform combos called Wushu strikes. These allow Shang-Chi to access powerful utility and land guaranteed critical hits. As Shang-Chi lands critical hits, he increases his critical damage rating, making him hit harder the longer the fight lasts. So, let's jump into this, man. He's got some really cool abilities, and he seems like a character that, is going to actually require some skill to play to the fullest extent, which is what the skill class should be like, and it's going to reward you for playing him skillfully and having a good knowledge of how he really works and when to do certain Wushu strikes. So first of all, just always active. Critical hits grant 34.15 critical damage rating for the rest of the fight, max 300 hits. So I think this has to be 300 critical hits, not just like a 300 hit combo. I think you need to log in 300 actual crits for this to max out. But it's really nice. It's kind of similar to Aegon. He's got a skill Aegon as the fight goes on, the champion just increases their critical damage rating, which is really good, especially when you can get guaranteed critical hits. So Wushu strikes. So all Wushu strikes start readied and can be performed by landing hits or striking into block with a series of specifically ordered attacks. Performing a Wushu strike unreadies it indefinitely. So when I was first reading this, I was kind of confused. I had to read it a couple of times. So I'm pretty sure I have a good understanding of how it works. So I believe there are 4 different types of Wushu strikes, and so they all start readied. So you start with 4 readied, and then every time you use one, that becomes unreadied, so then you'd only have 3 readied. And because the amount of readied Wushu strikes that you have can add other effects when you perform certain Wushu strikes. So it's kind of confusing, but I'll try to explain it as we go. So the last hit, I think this is for any Wushu strike, the last hit is a guaranteed critical hit and provides 1 chi charge and activates bonus effects. So this is the first Wushu strike, disarming strike. Medium, so just a 2-hit combo going medium. The last hit cannot be interrupted. Remove the opponent's unstoppable effect and inflict a slow debuff, reducing unstoppable and evadability accuracy by 100% over 5 seconds for each readied Wushu strike. Slow won't trigger against natural class advantage. So notice how, doing medium is going to go ahead and apply a slow effect to the opponent. And notice how it says for 5 seconds for each readied Wushu strike. So I think if you do this one first, it should be a 20-second slow, I think. So this one seems like a good one to activate first if you're facing someone that has unstoppable or evades, and you wanna get that slow active. So the next one is cleansing strike. We see some more of the cleanse mechanic that Jabari Panther has. So it's medium, light, medium, a little 3-hit combo there. Purify 3 debuffs. Gain 1 cleanse passive for each readied Wushu strike, lasting until this Wushu strike is readied again. When a champion with cleanse is inflicted with a debuff, it is immediately purified and cleanse is removed. So performing this combo purifies up to 3 debuffs. So suicides, hello, suicide friendly, and then you gain 1 cleanse passive for each readied Wushu strike. So that sounds amazing, just being able to clear out suicides from the start, Or, you know, if you, let's say you have suicides and you're fighting, let's say, a shock node. Why not? Bleed, poison, shock, boom. Just start the fight, parry, medium, light, medium, boom. All three of those debuffs are gone, you know? That sounds pretty great, man. That's just a really good ability to start with. I really like that. And you can also gain some cleanse, you know, if there's fear of getting more debuffs on you in the future of the fight. And there's also a way to get some more cleanse, which we'll talk about with one of his special attacks. But yeah, so far those Wushu strikes sound very useful utility-wise. So the next one is Breaking Strike, which is a medium, light, light, medium combo. The last hit becomes unblockable when striking into a block. Gain an unblockable buff lasting 1.5 seconds for each readied Wushu strike, and pausing during Shang-Chi's special attacks. So that's cool, you know, you get an unblockable buff for 1.5 seconds, and again, the more ready Wushu strikes you have, the longer that unblockable buff will last. And if you combo that into a special attack, it'll pause the unblockable buff, which is really nice. I'm not sure what this guy's animations look like, but I'm sure it won't be too hard to weave specials into his combos. But you know, just having the unblockability is nice. His special 2 also has full guaranteed crits, so if you could just drop this, the unblockable buff into special 2, it's a full guaranteed critting unblockable special 2. Sounds like Corvus. But yeah, that's his third Wushu strike. Now let's talk about the last one, Pinpoint Strike, which is a regular 5-hit combo, medium, light, 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 medium. Inflict a stun debuff lasting a flat 0.65 seconds for each readied Wushu strike. So those are all 4 of the Wushu strikes listed here, and we got a developer note here. Be very intentional with the order that you perform Wushu strikes, as their effectiveness scales with the number of readied Wushu strikes. So now you're probably thinking, okay, how do I get my Wushu strikes back? You know, what do I got to do for that? And the simple answer is just use a heavy attack. So a heavy attack, gain a precision buff for each chi charge, increasing critical rating by 110, 153 over 15 seconds, max 4 stacks, and all unreadied Wushu strikes are readied and personal stun effects on the opponent are removed. So yeah, all you gotta do is use a heavy attack and boom, all your Wushu strikes are back. And there seems to be no cooldown on this. So, you know, if you just want, let's say you want to be unblockable for like the majority of a fight, you know, you could just use that Wushu strike and then heavy attack next, and then just keep refreshing the unblockable. Or, you know, if you need to keep purifying debuffs, you can do it that way. Or if you need to keep applying slow, you can do it that way. So it seems very easy to manage once you know, get a good idea, remember all those combos, and know when to throw your heavy attacks to refresh them. So I'm a big fan of that. So here we have a brand new mechanic coming to the game. It's its first debut. We already have perfect blocks, which are parries, but now we have perfectly timed dodges, which are something a little bit differently. So, you know, you can dex an attack, like dexterity, a special attack, but just because you dexterity it doesn't mean that that's a perfectly timed dodge. So it's going to take a little bit getting used to. The way Command was saying it was that you pretty much just want to dodge at like the last second or block at the last second to get that perfectly timed effect. So Shang-Chi has a short window of time where he can use perfect timing while performing a well-timed block or dodging an attack. And doing this, if you perform a well-timed block or perform a perfect timed dodge, grants him 1 chi charge. So you can get, there's no cap on these chi charges either, and these chi charges are similar to Guardian's charges, where, you know, you build up a whole bunch and then you just release a ton of damage. So we're going to talk about that in a sec. But yeah, here we have a developer note. The heavy attack is useful for quickly prepping all Wushu strikes in case their utility is required, or for stacking a large amount of chi charges before cashing out with a chunky special 2. So let's go ahead and talk about the specials now. So let's talk about the special 2 first. So it's called Wushu Barrage. Each hit is a guaranteed critical hit, which is very nice. You consume all chi charges, increasing the attack rating of each hit by 690.3 for each chi charge, and all unreadied Wushu strikes are readied. So you can, there's no cap to chi charges, and the cool thing again with Shang-Chi compared to Guardian is that his chi charges don't expire. They're permanent. They're not going anywhere. So you can build up like 1,000 of them if you wanted to, and then just release the fattest special 2 that's ever been released in the game. So this gets me excited to see some really big, really big yellow numbers with this dude. the potential is technically infinite. So very excited for that. Yeah, here we have a developer note. This is Shang-Chi's only way to cash out on his chi charges, so build them up and perform a special for some big yellow numbers. So very excited to see the damage coming from this dude. It sounds very promising. Sounds like really good damage and really good utility. But let's keep talking about some of his abilities because there's still some more. So the special attack 1 is an aerial kick. Landing this attack or striking into block will perform the last wushu strike with equal potency. If no wushu strike has been used, the pinpoint strike is performed, which was the one that stunned the opponent. We can go back to it real quick. The pinpoint strike. Inflict a stun debuff lasting a flat 0.65 seconds for each readied wushu strike. So yeah, if you haven't performed any wushu strikes and used the special one, it'll just default to that one. And so developer note, the special one allows Shang-Chi to double down on one of his wushu strikes. Needs some more cleanse passives. How about another stun debuff? So yeah, special one is just another way to do that without having to re-ready up your wushu strikes. And then the special 3 here, gain 182 critical damage rating for the rest of the fight and gain 4 chi charges. So that sounds good for special 3, but I'm curious if you can keep stacking that. You know, it's gain 182.61 critical damage rating for the rest of the fight. I wonder if the more special 3s, you can keep adding that to your critical damage rating for the rest of the fight, or if it's just a one-time thing. They don't really specify, so I'm interested to see that. Like you could really build up some crazy damage if you can just keep stacking it, and with the chi charges and everything like that. And then we have Shang-Chi's Awakenability. So it's called the Master of Kung Fu. It's the name of his signature ability. Critical hits deal a burst of 20% of hit damage as physical damage. That's great. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, yes, that is awesome. I really like this signature ability. And then also Shang-Chi can perform critical hits through the opponent's block. Personal abilities that trigger on critical hits will trigger through block. So you can get some crits through the block, which is pretty good actually. If you ever have to fight, for example, do you bleed? Do you bleed? The only way to deal damage is through bleed effects or block damage. So yeah, this ability can be very useful for that. Or also, you know, the invade node, he could be very useful for that. So yeah, pretty good signature ability, but definitely also not like required to play this character. It's just some nice icing on the cake, which is ideal usually for a signature ability. You don't really want a character that's too reliant on it, because then it just kind of feels like you only have half the champion until you unlock that signature ability. And then here we have another developer note. Shang-Chi's signature ability increases his overall damage with bursts of physical damage on critical hits, and also allows him to trigger critical hits through block. This means he can increase his critical damage rating quicker than before. So I wonder if that means that, you know, the whole 300 critical hits is a cap, and each time that increases critical damage rating, I guess critical blocked hits will also count towards that max 300. So that's cool, just a quicker way to get it up, you know, if you need to do some blocked hits. And then here we have some synergies. So he's got Shadowland with Mr. Negative. Shang-Chi, dodging an attack with perfect timing, inflicts a falter passive, causing 100% of the opponent's attacks to miss for 2 seconds. When I first read that, I was like, what? That's insane. But contact attacks bypass this falter and remove the effect. So it sounds like a very niche synergy where it would be useful, but it could definitely have some use. I'm having trouble thinking of where, but in some case where there's a difficult to evade special attack that is not contact based, you could use this to make it miss, I suppose. But you know, I'm thinking like the Grand Master or the Collector, but normally like they bypass miss mechanics, so it wouldn't work for that. But yeah, could be useful for sure. And then here, this is my favorite synergy, just because I already knew about this. So it's called the Way of the Spider with Spider-Man. A little backstory on this synergy is, in the comics, you know, Spider-Man wanted to get better at, you know, martial arts. So he went to Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi actually helped him come up with his own fighting style, which is called the Way of the Spider. So as soon as I saw this synergy, I was like, yo, that's sick. Because I don't really read comics, but you know, I do know a lot about Spider-Man because he is my favorite character. So I just like, wow, that's really cool to see that in game. I'd love to see OG Spider-Man and Symbiote Spider-Man actually get a buff, because this synergy's nice, but you know, it's not going to make them super useful. But Shang-Chi with the synergy, he gets critical hits bypass, 20% of armor and resistances, which critical hits already bypass a lot of resistances in the game, so I don't know how useful that's going to be. But Spider-Man, he can use perfect timing while performing a well-timed block or dodging an attack, gaining a cruelty buff, increasing critical damage rating by 45% for 30 seconds. That definitely was going to help Spider-Man, but he needs some more love for sure. And then we have another synergy here with Martial Arts Master with Iron Fist and Iron Fist Immortal. Shang-Chi starts the fight with 4 chi charges, which is pretty nice. And then Iron Fist, the Iron Fists each hit in all special attacks are guaranteed critical hits, gain a flat 35% personal armor break ability accuracy. That's also a pretty good synergy for Iron Fist, but this Iron Fist is supposed to be one of the best martial artists as well in the Marvel Universe. And he's just so trash in game, you know. We really need to see an Iron Fist buff, and this character just kind of gives me hope that we'll see that. And once Iron Fist does get buffed, this synergy could be really sick, getting those guaranteed critical hits. Who knows? Iron Fist could hit insanely hard in the future with a buff on his special 2, and this could make guaranteed crits. I see some strong potential with that synergy in the future. And then we also have Eyes of the Dragon with Captain America, Black Widow, Beast, and Ant-Man. Synergy members, landing a critical hit grants an additional 2% critical damage rating, max 100 hits. That's kind of cool. Too bad it's with Captain America Classic and not Infinity War, though. Maybe it could be good for Ant-Man once he gets his buff. I don't know. And then we got one with Elektra, enemies, some critical rating, and then with Heroes for Hire with Luke Cage and She-Hulk, all champions gain 85% or plus 85 block proficiency and physical resistance, which isn't the whole ton, but that's cool. And then here we just have some strengths and weaknesses on Shang-Chi. Strengths, Wushu Strike utility. Wushu Strike can be performed quickly and with very few actions for a variety of different utility options that can help Shang-Chi deal with difficult opponents and critical hits. Because Shang-Chi's damage comes from critical hits, he bypasses most armor and resistances that the opponents has against him, which right there, it says one of his strengths, he bypasses armor and resistances, but yet this synergy helps him bypass 20% more of armor resistances. Kind of seems like a useless synergy when critical hits already bypass it so much. But then his weakness is his reliance on critical hits. Shang-Chi relies on critical hits for all of his damage. Opponents with abilities that counter critical hits or guarantee critical hits will give him a hard time, like Mr. Sinister. That's going to be a terrible matchup. But yeah, guys, that's all of Shang-Chi's abilities. I hope I did a good job explaining everything and you understand how he works. It took me a couple times reading it through to really get a good idea of him in my mind, but I'm extremely excited. I think he has some really strong potential, just really good damage output potential, really good utility potential, and I think he's just going to be a very good addition to the skill class. Definitely think he's going to be like at least a god tier, if not higher. Need to see the numbers. He also has 71% block proficiency, which is really good, so just having good base block proficiency as well really helps. So yeah, I just see a lot of potential in this dude. So yeah, I'm very excited for him. It's the first time I've been excited for a skill champion in a long time. Wasn't super excited about Jabari Panther. She's pretty cool, but just, I don't know, didn't really love her. But this dude, I'm extremely excited. Definitely going to want to try to get him. I do have a skill catalyst for a 6-star. I'd love to give it to him. I don't have an Awaken Gem anymore. Gave it to Hitmonkey, but yeah, I'm excited. But I'm very also interested to see your guys' thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. If you did enjoy the breakdown, I would appreciate you dropping a like. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.